Whoa, 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 whoa. So I just did a funny video, and this is not gonna be this is gonna be like on like a heavier note. This is the 5 insane convict freak outs after giving life sentences. I did a video yesterday that was like this dude killed like a baby, and the judge like sentenced it. Go check out that video I did yesterday. And he pretty much, he got like life, no parole, blah blah blah. Go check out that video; it's pretty intense. But that's kind of, I saw this video and I was like, let me go ahead and watch that. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you go ahead and stop what you're doing right now before you even finish this video and hit the subscribe button. Okay, it's much appreciated when I see that. It's more motivation. And like I said, y'all, I'm gonna get to the point where I'll actually be able to tell like who subscribed. Just bear with me. Thank you.
What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knots, and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns. 5 shocking inmate reactions to their sentences. Number 5. In October of 2016, a man by the name of Jaleel Smith Riley entered a courtroom to receive his sentencing for shooting a 22-year-old woman back in 2013, as well as injuring her boyfriend. Jaleel had initially admitted to the shooting and pleaded guilty. However, once he realized that he was going to be sent to prison for life, he changed his tone and begged the judge to allow him to change his plea, a request which was denied. Take a look at Jaleel's reaction as he received his sentence.
Jaleel Smith Riley admitting to the crime. He confessed, pleaded guilty, then tried to drop that plea today. Judge Carlos Kubicki did not let that happen. Smith Riley was sentenced after families gave statements. His family asking for mercy, her family asking for a life sentence.
This man was born. I guess that's her, the woman he killed. She was born 7 days after me. Exactly. That's sad, man.
He took her from me. She was beautiful. Her beauty was not just skin deep. She had a beautiful heart, mind, and soul. She was a little sister, a big sister, a niece, aunt, cousin, granddaughter, and my daughter.
29. The judge sentenced Smith Riley to life in prison without parole for Brooks' murder, and more time after that for shooting Martin, and still more time for using a gun. Smith Riley collapsed to the floor.
Mandatory consecutive underlying offenses. All those counts are consecutive each other. Quote, credit for time served, amount of
Yeah, you can't tell me this ain't some sad-ish, bro. Like, I get it, bro. If I'm in that situation, somebody killed one of my family members, bro, number one, definitely, yeah, I'm going with retribution, I'm going payback, all that good stuff. But the older I get, the more I realize, like, it's like being like a parent or something, and your child do something wrong out in the street or out in public while you're not there, and somebody like beats your child. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a lot of people be okay with that, but it's like that sentiment where it's like somebody else is punishing you for your wrongdoings, and it's the state. You know what I mean? Like prison, like there needs to be a whole nother conversation about prison and what prison really means and what it really does. I don't feel like prison is the best situation to promote change, to promote self-evolution. Just because somebody makes a split wrong decision in a moment, and I know there's a lot of different scenarios, okay, but just stick with me. Just because a person makes a lot of just makes a one quick split decision and it's the wrong decision, and like in his instance, I don't know what he's been through in his life, but he made one split decision. It doesn't mean that he doesn't still have the potential to change the world. Feel what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that he can't be an important part of society. You feel what I mean? And I think by you locking somebody up in prison in a place, you know what I'm saying, where you almost number one, you can go insane. You know what I mean? Number two, you are in a place that is containing your body, which in some sense, I feel like you are being held back to kind of think of new ideas. And the fact that we have such a large percentage, just imagine the concept and ideas that are stuck inside of a box. You feel what I mean?
The families say this was the first step toward healing. At 5:30 on Local 12, we're going to have more on what was said in court and an interview with Aaron, who still has dreams, even though he lives with an injury from that.
Number 4. Daniel Holtzclaw is a former Oklahoma police officer who was convicted of sexual assault, battery, and sodomy, among other things, back in 2015. These acts were performed against 8 different women, accounting for 18 different charges in total. It was revealed in court that Daniel had used his position as an officer to dig up details on the victims' lives, then used this information to coerce them into performing sexual acts for him. It was in January of 2016 that Daniel was found guilty and sentenced to 263 years in prison. When given his sentencing, Daniel became overrun with emotion and began sobbing as he was escorted from the courtroom.
Defendant is guilty of the crime of sexual battery and set punishment at 8 years. Count 2, procuring lewd exhibition. Not guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition. Count 3, burglary in the first degree. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of burglary in the first degree, nor lesser included. Count 4, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, and punishment is set at 5 years. Count 5, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring. Count 31, rape.
Snap. I'm gonna finish this, but I'm sure y'all thought I was gonna change my tone. It's the same tone, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know the situation. Of course, I'm only looking at him crying. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you're gonna cry after you did some fucked up shit. You know what I'm saying? Or did some messed up stuff. Yeah, you're gonna cry. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you get caught doing it. And he was persistently doing it. And probably if he didn't get caught, he would still be doing that. Yes, I totally get that. I totally get that. There is a place, I don't know where it's at, but it's a reform center. It's like in another country where it's pretty much like you kind of have more freedom to do different things, but it's more based off of, kind of changing and reforming prisoners. If you are familiar with Malcolm X, he was one of the like most well-known reformed prisoners, like hard in prisoner, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got charged for, pretty much everything. He's done everything when it comes to legality, that's in the book. But I'm not saying that these individuals should be free, because I think once you make a big mistake like that, regardless, even if you don't get locked up, you have to deal with that mistake that you made. You have to, whether it be mentally or physically, you have to deal with that mistake. But what I'm saying is, we need to treat these individuals as what they are: traumatized adult human beings. There's no way that you can tell me that there is not like either a mental disbalance or that there's not trauma that he grew up with. There's no way that you can tell me that. So my thing is, why not invest in these people and believe in a person's ability not to necessarily reform for the best for himself, but reform for the best of the people. Okay? All this focused energy that this country puts on retribution could be focused on love and grow more love, and inherently he could be the individual that teaches us why he did what he did and how we can stop what he did from happening. If we can get him on a mental, on the same playing field of positivity, of making sure that there are no victims. Now again, I get his victims want him to suffer. I get that. And I would be the same. I would want him, honestly, if you did that to my sister, my mom, whatever, bro, I would want him dead. I get that energy, but I'm just speaking on a person outside looking in.
The second degree by instrumentation. Defendant is guilty of the crime of rape in the second degree, and punishment is set at 12 years. Count 32, rape in the first degree. Defendant is guilty. Mr. Holtzclaw, this jury finds you guilty of the various counts. You will be remanded to the custody of the Oklahoma County Sheriff for formal sentencing set January 21st, 2016 at 10 o'clock a.m. All right, you have a seat. The custody of the sheriff, you're excused.
Number 3. In August of 2016, a man from Ohio named Jason Binkowitz leapt from a 3-story courtroom after being sentenced to 13 years in prison. He was sentenced for felony assault and attempted murder after shooting a man in the face just a month prior. Authorities conducted a very brief investigation into Jason's jump, though the case was pretty cut and dry.
After learning his fate, a 13-year prison sentence, Jason Binkowitz got away from the sheriff's deputy escorting him to the elevator and leapt to his death after jumping over the railing on the 3rd floor of the Jefferson County Courthouse. The fall about 100 feet. Jefferson County Sheriff Fred Abdallah says that Binkowitz's hands were shackled, though his ankles were not due to issues with swelling.
If he did have them on, there's enough movement in them, they could have still made it to the railing and jumped over.
Moments after the jump, emergency crews were on scene. Later, the Bureau of Criminal Investigation arrived to collect evidence, and because a sheriff's deputy was involved, the Steubenville Police Department is handling the investigation along with the Attorney General's office. Going forward, Jefferson County officials say they will take a close look at security.
Oh, I think we're going to look at everything. You know, it's a terrible day for this to have happened, and I think that we will look at everything we can to make sure that nothing like this ever happens again.
Did I say like 100 feet?
Number 2. A man by the name of Jaleel Hoskins was given a 50 to 100-year prison sentence back in January of 2014. The sentencing came after Jaleel was found guilty of taking the life of a young mother, then dumping her body in a dumpster. His verdict came after a supposedly heartfelt apology which he issued to the victim's family, stating that he loved the woman and that taking her life was not his intention. Though, take a look at his reaction to his sentencing just moments later.
I love you, baby. I love you,
What's the saying? Eye for eye leaves the whole world blind. Something like that, man. I mean, I'm thinking. I think I'm just thinking like, kind of like naive or something, but because I know it's a lot of fucked up shit in this world, bro. And I know I can imagine the feeling of wanting somebody dead. Matter of fact, I felt that before, you know what I'm saying? But you can see in his eyes, he's at that point, it wasn't, you know, if he had any chance to change his life, if he had any chance to, that's gone, that's dead. And send condolences to all these people's families and people that are affected by, you know, people that make messed up decisions and destroy lives. And for the people that are affected by it. Like, and I send my condolences because it's.
And that was how the sentencing ended today, with Hoskins being rushed out of the room and both families erupting in yelling and screaming. We were the first to tell you last month when Hoskins pleaded guilty right in the middle of his murder trial. You may remember Mays, a mother of 5, went missing last March. Her body was never found. Hoskins admitted he tossed her body in a dumpster. Today in court, before that outburst, Mays' mother and aunt had their chance to confront her killer.
You tell me how I explain what happened to their mom. First of all, I want you to stand there and look at me and quit standing there looking at the ceiling like a little coward. You know, I'm going to face you and I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel.
Number 1. 2 men from Chattanooga were convicted of entering a man's home, gunning him down, and robbing him. While the case was pretty self-solving, they were sent to trial in 2014, where they seemed to be strangely shocked by receiving life sentences in prison. Both of the 2 men broke out into profane and at times violent outbursts, causing the courtroom to fall into disarray. Take a look at a clip.
Chaos, disruptions, and threats take over a Hamilton County courtroom. Good evening. Supporters of the 2 men convicted. Just minutes before, inside the courtroom, the jury hands down a guilty verdict against Roderick Bates and Emmett Jones, now convicted in the death of Reginald Clark. Jones and Bates reacted immediately to the verdict.
It's some bull, man. It's some bull. Y'all know this some bull, man. Y'all know this some bull, man.
Family and friends of the victim remained quiet. They were clearly outnumbered in the audience. Meanwhile, Bates accused the all-white jury of racism, and the judge hit Jones with an extra contempt charge based on his behavior.
White folks on our jury. Y'all know this some bull, man. Wait to tell you about racism.
Judge Stillman on the bench did what he could to restore order.
Man, from what I've heard from that last case, they didn't commit murder. They didn't kill nobody, but they had somebody with a gun. Like this is my like. Why are you giving somebody 100 fucking years? The average death of a male is what, 70 to 80? Probably less than that. Man, as people, bro, we gotta really learn to love, bro. We gotta learn not only to love, but we gotta learn to respect each other, yo. To have empathy, and I look, I totally get it. These people are sick out here. I get that, and I'm not. Again, I'm a part of the problem. Let me get off this 18 minutes.